Hari Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvanavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. So, in the last session, right, we went into the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, and we also saw that what is the central theme of this text, which we revere so much, and as we also took it up, that it is part of the Prasthanatrayi, the three major texts that one would take to know this universal truth, which is our own self, right? So first one, of course, is the Upanishads, right? Upanishads are the Shruti Grantha. Then we said that we have the Bhagavad Gita, which is the Smriti Grantha, right? It comes from the Puranas. It's part of the Puranas, and then we have the Brahma Sutra. So among the three main texts that are to be studied, Bhagavad Gita is one such text, which we might say is a Shastra in itself. Shastra, and we say Shastra, what it means is that which is as a whole giving the knowledge, right? Say suppose, if we want to study one particular science, then we are saying, that whole science is encompassed in this particular grantha. So here the Shastra, right, of our own life is what is covered in the Bhagavad Gita. So not only is it a Shastra, it is also one which is giving us a scientific approach. Why would you say that? In science also there is a step-by-step approach to, there is a theory, and then we are going to prove it through the experiment. So here, of course, where is the Bhagavad Gita given? Bhagavad Gita is given at the battlefield, right? In the Kurukshetra, right in the middle of the war, it is being given, and therefore it is not that it is something to be sat and contemplated on, taking your own time. Arjuna could not have just sat there and gained that, and then he would have said, okay, let me think about it, and then realize, let me sit quietly and realize. By the time the war, he would have got killed, right? But therefore, how is it? The Upanishads are looking at that particular student, seeker, who has reached one criteria of eligibility, okay? And we also saw what is this adhikari lakshana of sadhana chatushtaya, okay, where we said that not only should I have the urge to know, that mumukshutva, but I should also have Viveka, Vairagya and Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. Right? So these qualifications I need to have in order to grasp the knowledge which is given in the Upanishads. Fine. And therefore, when we say that there were the Rishi Munis and all, and they had reached that Chitta Shuddhi, that purity, they had reached that focus also through the life lessons, over lifetimes maybe, but they were able to attain that, and therefore, as as what is required to know this Brahma Vidya, right? That kind of a mindset they could attain, and they could sit, high up in the mountains where no one would disturb them and gain that knowledge, right? But here now is this knowledge, right? That same knowledge which is given in the Upanishads, the same is brought down to us in a more step-by-step format, right? In a more categorized kind of a teaching, right? Where, if I want to know how do I start meditating, how do I, if I am doing my work, if I have to do my duties, karma is important. I can't live in the world without acting, without putting forth efforts to earn my living, right? So to have all kinds of achievements in all kinds of spheres of life, I definitely have to work. So how do I go about my duties? What is the right way to do it? How will I gain success? What is the instant formula for success? Right? So all such things, all these knowledge which I want to implement in my life, I would want it not sitting somewhere in the mountains, but right here in my battlefield, right? In my Kurukshetra, which is my field of action, right? And so too, here is Arjuna, who is also an adept student. He is skilled. He is one who is ambitious, and he is also someone who is going through life's traumas. Somewhere, his cousin is, hatching plans to usurp whatever property they have. Somewhere, someone is criticizing him. Someone is challenging him. There is competitiveness all along the way. He has his own anger and other emotions to take care of, right? So this Arjuna is therefore that ideal student. So we don't have to think that this Bhagavad Gita, this text is given for someone right there in the battlefield. He was a warrior and he has to fight. So one who wants to fight, that is the person for whom this Bhagavad Gita is. No. Over there, his karma, his duty was to fight. As a warrior, it was for him to fight in the right way, knowing the intent that he should use, right? Whereas, when we are looking at ourselves also, what are we seeing? We also have our own set of duties, be it towards our family, be it towards our team, be it towards our country, right? Our duties are at each and every level, and how we perform them in order to get in the best of results is what we want to know, right? At the end of the day, I want to have that satisfaction that I did my best. I used my potential in the right way, and therefore I am not wanting of anything external outside of me to give me that happiness, right? To have that kind of joy is something that we all crave, right? So here too we had Arjuna in a similar kind of scenario, and he is fighting the battle, having the best of his friends at the helm, at his chariot, right? And he is the one who is now facing questions. He is the one who is now confused. So as much as that knowledge was applicable to him, that much that knowledge is applicable to us, right? And therefore is the relevance of this Bhagavad Gita. Now, not just that, what is the uniqueness, if we say, uniqueness is that it is with this scenario alone, keeping in mind that Bhagwan has also given us the ideal way to attain that truth which is me, right? To attain our own essence, he has given us paths to do that, and at various steps, right? Each chapter, and therefore it is said, each chapter is like an Upanishad. Okay, but here what is done is, in the Upanishads, what was given in a concise way, it has been contextualized to different scenarios and given to us. Okay, and this is put in the 18 chapters. Fine. So then, so not only is the student right? To have the student right, what should be the ideal, qualifications mentally? That also Arjuna had. That was also one uniqueness of this text, that Arjuna, where he had that choice, both Duryodhan and himself, both of them had approached Lord Shri Krishna, right? And this was just before the war, and without even a little bit of hesitation, Arjun could immediately take the support of Lord Krishna and say that, no, for me, Bhagwan, you are alone enough. I don't need your huge army, right? I have my army. Yes, my army is only 7 Akshaunis. Okay, so 7 Akshaunis. We will come to the statistics part sometime later. So the Pandavas had 7 Akshaunis, and the Kauravas had 11 Akshaunis. So, if we put in today's general terms, that would be around 30 lakhs of people together on that one battlefield, right? So, where each person, was in a rush to equip their army better, right? The Kauravas, Duryodhana was striving for that. So, he thought, why not first approach Krishna also? And he, of course, sat at the head of the bed where, Lord Krishna was lying down, he was taking a nap, and Satyaki, his charioteer, had brought these two in, and Duryodhana sat at the head of the bed, whereas Arjuna sat at the foot. And first thing what happened was, Bhagwan saw him, Lord Krishna saw him, and he just immediately smiled. And then immediately Duryodhana comes in and he says that, but I was here first, so you should first take me. Bhagwan, you should not cheat. I know he's your friend, but I also am yours. So you have to do what is right. So then Krishna said, without any kind of confusion, he said, he is younger, and when I woke up, I saw him first. So let's give him a chance. What is there? But he put this, he put this scenario. Either you can take the entire army, or you take me alone. And when I come, I'm not going to fight the war though. Okay, that also he told, right? I'm not going to get into actual fighting mode, but I will be there. Whoever chooses me, I will be by your side. Now, Duryodhan was little bit flustered. He was like, oh my God, toss to usne jeet liya. Arjun has got the toss, now what is going to happen? But Arjun, without a hesitation, without any doubts, immediately he said, Bhagwan, you have to be with me. You are going to be my charioteer. You are going to be my sarathi. So there was that willingness, there was that faith that he had, that Shraddha was very strong in him, that I might might have the best of equipment. I might, I might be a good warrior also. But who is the one whose support I can take at any time? Who is the one who can be my pillar of support in any situation? That is my Sathi, that is Lord Krishna alone. Right? Now, if we look at our own self at any time, when we are in trouble, who is it that we think of? Do we think of God? Does it come by very easily to us that, I'm feeling happy? Even when I'm feeling happy, who is the one whom I feel gratitude towards, right? Or if I'm feeling very downright, sad and upset, even at that moment, whom do I think of, right? So that having that ananyaya ashraya, right? That is what is the quality of this student who is Arjuna, right? This was seen not only in that episode, but even later, when he, or even earlier, in his life, when he was wanting to get some kind of weapons for himself, he got the best of astras, right? So how did that happen? That happened through consultation with Krishna. He would always ask you, what should I do? I want this. I want to gain this weapon. So what kind of tapas should I do? Where should I go? Which aranya should I go? So his tirtha, his yatras, etc., he would coordinate with consultation with Krishna. So he had always been, his confidant, you might say, or his counsel, you might say, at any times. And such was that camaraderie between them. So he could never think of himself without thinking of Krishna, right? And this shows that, he had that much of faith in him. Even later, by the start of the second chapter, when he is contemplating and he realizes how helpless the situation is, so he comes to a final conclusion and he surrenders, drops the weapon down, and he tells Krishna that, hey Krishna, I don't see a way out of this. You tell me what is the way out. So there also, what comes forth is not that he's become very piety. It is not something that where he has become completely helpless and giving up his weapons and thinking that some magic is going to come out from Krishna. It is not that, because there also, if we see the last shloka, right, in the 18th chapter, where it is said, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdharaha. So, where there is that teacher who is someone like Krishna, and the one, Partha Dhanurdharaha, the one who is already adept in with his weapons, he is standing ready. He is not quit. He is just asking, how should he go about? Okay. So here also, it was not that Arjuna had completely given up, but he wanted direction. And for that, he sought the help of Krishna. Knowing that he knows better, knowing that he was not having clarity, knowing that he himself, Arjuna, was not having clarity, and who could give him clarity? The one who saw that holistic view of this whole situation. And therefore, he had ultimate Shraddha in Krishna and surrendered to him. So, such a student is the one who is going to gain this knowledge, right, and go forth with his life. So, why did we take that up? We took this up only to understand that what should be our intent. Normally what happens is, even when we ask someone a doubt, or a question. Mostly this happens today also. Even now we see, even with kids when we are doing any bal vihar or anything, what happens is question is asked and before that the person will also have the answer and it is gone. So you say, okay, fine, theek hai, do as you please. Or sometimes, you give answers also. One can think of solutions. When we go to our parents also, we might be so irritated, or we go to our friends, we might be so irritated and we might go on, blabbering by ourselves. And then when it comes to it, and the person is giving you some kind of counsel, what is happening? Immediately you say, ye to mujhe pata hai, I don't need this, right? So here is a student who was unable to, come out of his own solution, and he trusted Bhagwan. And at that time he was not seeing him as Bhagwan also. He was seeing him as his great confidant, his great friend Krishna, and he bows down to him. And he says in the chapter 2, he further says, Shishyasteham sharimam tvam prapannam. Right? He bows down to him and he says, now you show me the way. I have become your disciple. I have dropped that role of, being your friend. So now you be the right charioteer of my life and guide me on the path of Krishna. Fine. So here is that great student. And then we also have the great teacher itself. Right? Who is that great teacher? A great teacher is Krishna. He is the Lord. And when someone is teaching, we will always see, now this person is going to give us a solution. Right? Even if you might take someone as your consultant or someone as your mentor, right? In today's day and age, there are so many who come about. There are life coaches, etc. What do we first see? What is the credential of this person? How much of experience does that person have in that field? Will he really, will the person really be able to give me a right kind of solution? So here is Krishna. You might think his life is very beautiful. All he does is play the flute and he has gopikas around him and everything. But actually, if we take a closer look at his life, what do we see? He was born in a prison and his own uncle was after his life. And not just that, then he had to be taken away from his parents, kept in another home. And as he grew up also, different scenarios were arising where people were trying to take his life. And he was playfully coming out of each of these. Right? Did it stop when he became an adult? No. There too there were a lot of challenges. Right? So, yet throughout, what was one phenomenal thing over there was that he saw life at large and always had a smile on his face. Right? We'll never see, any of the photo, any of the drawings which come out or on the calendars, etc. We'll never see a Rutha Vava Krishna. We will not see one angry Krishna anywhere. Right? So to it is said, the avatar Purushas, that is what is said. Like, if you take even Lord Rama's life, right? Here now he was going to be crowned, and the next moment what was going to happen was he was sent to Vanvas. And yet what is said about him is there is Sukha Dukkhe Mukha Prabha. Sukha Dukkha, whenever, be it joy or sorrow, in any situation, on his face that brilliance which was there was never going down. It was ever light, right? So such was the demeanor with which, such was the equipoise with which these Mahan Purushas led their lives, right? Now you might say that How will you see that happening in my life? In my life, there are so many ups and downs. I have my own, that was the Puranas. How will it apply to me? So, how will it apply to me is what we are going to see in this Bhagavad Gita, right? And of course, when we are starting this, we should also, our own Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayanand, he gave us this, one of the mission statements for the Palvihar is keep smiling, right? For children, that keep smiling, it seems to be very, very apt, right? But actually speaking, he has given it to all of us, right? So be it whatever situation, don't make it a problem. It is a situation, it can be faced, right? All we have to do is make certain adjustments within us. And therefore, each day of his life for 42 years, he spoke the words of the Bhagavad Gita to thousands and thousands of people across the globe. Even in the last 2 years of his life, he went through strenuous process, even where his heart was failing, and yet he would come up on stage, he would, at PRC, these sessions on the Bhagavad Gita were recorded. And of course, now also they are available. With the amazing sense of humor, he has brought in so many concepts which are embedded in the Bhagavad Gita. And how has he given it to us in a language that we can understand, in scenarios that are relevant to us here and now? And more than anything, what he brought to us, because you might say that this knowledge was given in ancient times, right? How will I bring relevance to myself? So that is what one of the beautiful things that Gurudev brought about, that in our small struggles, he showed us from where we are right now, how we can go many, many steps ahead. How we can approach those problems and view life at large, right? And not be stuck in these small situations, right? And for that we are thankful to him, and we'll start with our Gita Dhyana. Today we might have to, I'm just giving a warning that, there is a temple festival around, happening here at 6:30, I think. So in case the drums start very loud, we'll have to close our session, but we'll continue for now. Okay. So I'll start with the first shloka of Gita Dhyana. As is the tradition, any of the great epics bole, ya any of the great texts that we study, we always start with Mangalacharanam. And the Mangalacharanam for the Bhagavad Gita is that which is given by Madhusudana Saraswati ji, and it is said to be the Gita Dhyanam. So I will chant the first verse and then I will give a short summary about this verse. Om Parthaya Pradipoditam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrutavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini. Okay, we'll look at this first verse. Of course, when we start with Om, Om is that auspicious, right? That auspicious truth which is our own self, right? We might call it Om, we might say it is that supreme, we might say that it is that universal truth. That is what is signified by Om, right? And then it starts as Parthaya Pratibodhitam. So Partha over here, right, is who? Partha is Arjuna. Arjuna, his mother's name was what? Kunti, right? Kunti, her other name was also Prutha. Now this is the greatness of our culture, right? Normally, in our full names, we will have our father's name, right? But since ancient times, it was that the mother's name would be included, okay? So the son or the child or the daughter would be, referred to by their mother's name. So here also, Parthaya is indicative of the son of Prutha. Prutha over there is Kunti. So here Partha is son of Kunti. Parthaya to Partha. What was given? It was this Bhagavad Gita was given to this Partha, right? So the first line, so here, this is the Trishtup Chanda, okay? This meter in which we are chanting, it is called the Trishtup Chanda, right? So it will have 11 words basically. So the first line is indicating who has given this knowledge to whom, right? We know that this is a dialogue between two. So who has given this knowledge to whom? So Narayanena Swayam. What has Narayana, the Lord Supreme, he has given this truth to whom? To Partha, Parthaya Pratibodhita. So here when we are saying Pratibodhita, right? What is it? It is not just that the knowledge was given, but it is that knowledge which gave him enlightenment. Okay. So Pratibodhitam will be that, that knowledge through which he was able to get enlightened, right? And who gave it to him? The Lord himself gave it to him, right? Narayanena Swayam, right? So one more thing over here, which is to be considered is who is the one who can benefit from the knowledge? The one who has taken ashraya under that knowledge, the one who is not just seeking that knowledge but has surrendered to it. That person, the one who has taken ashraya to that knowledge, that is the one who will benefit from it. Okay. So the one who has taken refuge under that knowledge is going to gain that knowledge and be enlightened by it. And second line is talking of the composer. So who is the composer? Vyasena. Of course, we are saying that in the first line you will say that, you are saying Narayanena Swayam. So Narayana has given this knowledge. But then how is it that, Vyasa is coming as the composer? So Vyasa over there, he is the one who has been witness to that dialogue happening, and there he has just composed it. And therefore it is that word over there used, that beautiful word there used is Grathitam. When we say Grathitam, it is like, he is weaving that garland as though, he is threading that garland. So when we say that garland is there, can we say that the person who has woven that garland is the one who created that garland? No. Bhagwan has given those flowers, he has woven them together as one garland, right? And who is this Vyasa? This Vyasa is Purana Munina. He is the one who has, he has compiled the 18 Puranas. Purana Munina, Madhye Mahabharatam. So he is the one who has, compiled the 18 Puranas, of which Mahabharata is one. And in this Mahabharata is embedded this Bhagavad Gita. Okay, fine. And then next line, the third line there is Advaitamrutavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayitnim. So what is the knowledge contained over here? In this Bhagavad Gita, what is it that is being conveyed? The universal truth of the Advaita, right? Of the Upanishads is what is being brought forth in this 18 chapters. Ashtadashadhyayinim. So, and there also, he is giving the status of the God itself to this to this Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavatim. Bhagavati means he is giving the stature of the Lord, of Goddess, to this Bhagavad Gita, which is bringing forward the universal truth of the Brahma Vidya through these 18 chapters. Okay. Then the fourth line over there is saying, it is praising, eulogizing that Bhagavad Gita as the mother, where he says, Amba tvam anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita bhavadveshinim. So, O mother, I offer my salutations to you, O mother Bhagavad Gita. Mother is who? Mother is the one who from womb to our adult life is always nourishing us, is unconditionally giving to us, compassionately forgiving all our follies at all times. The mother is always available with open arms for us, right? So to here, Bhagavad Gita is given that status of that universal mother who is waiting with her wisdom to embrace us. No matter what the situation, we can approach her. So there he says, Amba tvam anusandadhami. I meditate on you, O glorious mother. I meditate on you, for you are the one who is going to rid me of this bhavadvesha, right? Bhavadveshinim, the one who is going to destroy all the bhavaroga. So Shankaracharya ji in his commentary calls that bhava. Bhava is what? Bhava is where I am struggling, as a being in this universe. What am I doing? I am all the time struggling to prove myself in this world. And what am I trying to prove? I am trying to prove myself as something that I am not. There is so much of competition, there is so much of raga dvesha, there is so much of, so much of, you might say, the shad ripus that are attacking me within me, and so too outside of me, right? So what is this Bhagavad Gita going to do to me? This Bhagavad Gita is going to help me come out of all these situations by giving me the true knowledge of who I am, and thus rid me of this bhava roga by showing me my true identity. That is what this Bhagavad Gita is going to do. And is this, you might say that by doing this one set of classes, or by studying the Bhagavad Gita one time around, am I going to be rid of everything? No, that is not going to happen, right? And not just that, one can't say that, if I read Bhagavad Gita 5 times or 10 times, I am going to gain the entirety of it. The beauty of this beautiful text is that each time the depth is only going to grow, right? Like Gurudev used to say that it is not how many times you have read the Bhagavad Gita, but how many times the Bhagavad Gita has gone through you, right? So too, therefore he says over here, Amba tvam anusandadhami. I not just salute you, but I contemplate on you, I meditate on you. How many times? Anusandadham means every step of the way of my life, I am going to go on through this process of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana on this knowledge that you are going to give to me. Okay, it is not going to end with just one round. The more I do, the better it is, and therefore there are so many Mahatmas who have not just benefited from the Gita, but they have also shared this knowledge over and over and gained joy from it, right? So what we'll do is that we'll stop with this right now. As I told, we are having some program happening, and we will continue the session. In the next session, we'll finish the Gita Dhyana. And the following week we will start with the chapter 1. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.